This situation needs to be acknowledged. Of course, the world outside, in one sense it's another world, in another sense it's not another world. It's actually our self. It's our bigger self. Our bigger self is largely unknown to us now. Our bigger self has a lot of wildness in it, and that terrifies us. When we sense within ourselves all kinds of undomesticated possibilities, it makes us frightened. We realize all the things we could say in all the situations of our life where we could speak the truth rather than retract in fear and cowardice, where we could show people who we are in a way that they might not like at all, where we could become angry when some injustice is being performed, when we could find ourselves wanting to protect people from the aggression of others, when we just want to express something that is too big for the situation, too happy, too sad. We are wild within us. We have wild hearts. We are untamed fundamentally. We may have domesticated a lot of animals in our space, but we ourselves are untamed, and we know it. When we come up against a practice like the earth breathing, we feel fear often. We feel resistance. There's a part of us that just wants to stay safe and stay within this small enclosure. Much as we want to go beyond, much as we feel such an urge to let the wildness out, to let the bigness and the beauty of who we are express itself in the universe in a completely unrestricted way, there's another part of us that's very afraid, very shrinking, very cowardly. Sigmund Freud, in his writing, talks about the principle of life and the principle of death. The principle of death is the tendency to want to shrink from life, shrink from who we are, shrink into a very tiny space, and ultimately just become numb. When we drink ourselves into oblivion, when we watch television until our emotional life is rotten and dead, when we have sex until we truly don't care anymore at all about anything, when we buy things with a kind of voracious appetite, trying to fill up some empty void. This is the principle of death. The principle of wanting to go to sleep and never wake up. This is the underlying inspiration of the ego. Keep it safe, keep it small, keep it secure, and for God's sake, don't live. Don't touch life, because if you do, something terrible might happen. You might actually begin to live, and that would be a terrifying prospect. But then there's another part of us that is looking in the most longing and yearning way over that fence, seeing all the animals, the wild ones, the really, truly wild and ferocious and beautiful animals come and go in the shadows. And we hear some kind of music calling from the darkness, calling us out. This is the inspiration of meditation. When we feel inspired to sit down on our cushion and practice, ultimately it's the big space calling us. It's the larger self calling us. And when we sit down to meditate, this is our response. It's an appropriate response, it's a courageous response, and it's an accurate response.